It's very important to know what kind of food your budgie is allowed to eat, because a lot of it that seems very harmless or even healthy could potentially be poisonous or problematic for your bird. So stay tuned if you want to make sure that your bird doesn't get sick from the foods you give it. 1. Fruit pits and apple seeds. Fruits are mostly seen as very healthy, not just for humans, but also for birds. But you need to make sure that the fruits you give it doesn't contain any fruit pits or seeds, which you can typically find in fruits like apples, pears, cherries, apricots, peaches, and so on. That means that you should always make sure to remove any pits or seeds before offering them to your bird. If you do that, it will be completely fine for your bird to eat the fruits. 2. Onions and garlic. Just like with the fruits, onions and garlic seem to be one of those types of food that people think is healthy for your bird because it is healthy for humans. However, they are toxic to a lot of animals, including birds. Onions contain sulfur compounds that, when chewed, can irritate the lining of a bird's mouth, esophagus, or crop, causing ulcers, and can induce rupture of red blood cells resulting in anemia. Garlic contains allicin, another chemical that can cause anemia and weakness in birds, so definitely make sure you don't feed it with this. 3. Avocado. Avocado is again one of those fruits that seems harmless, but can be lethal to your bird. What then makes avocado so lethal to budgies? Simply put, it's a poison. Avocado has a toxic substance called persin which poisons budgies. It's a deadly toxin that has been shown to affect even large domestic animals like cows. When ingested by a bird, this substance may cause heart damage, respiratory difficulty, weakness, and even sudden death. While certain types of avocado have been safely consumed by some bird species, it's hard to know which types of avocado will affect which species. It is also unclear how much avocado a pet bird would have to eat to be affected. That is why it is recommended to just stay safe and totally avoid avocado. 4. Chocolate. Birds have a hard time resisting chocolate, just like we have, but that doesn't mean that it's a good idea to give in and feed them with it. Even in very small amounts of chocolate can be poisonous to birds. It contains both theobromine and caffeine, which can cause vomiting and diarrhea, increase heart rate, result in hyperactivity, induce tremors and seizures, and even cause death. So definitely stay away from the temptation to let your bird eat chocolate. 5. Salt. Salt is something that we use in so much of our foods these days, but just as it's not good for us in large amounts, it's not good for your bird either. And for such a small bird, you wouldn't have to give it much before it becomes very toxic. Even if you just let it eat a bit of popcorn or cracker can lead to excessive thirst, dehydration, kidney failure, and death. So stay away from salty things and be aware of those types of food that contain salt even without you necessarily knowing it. It could just be a piece of bread, for example. 6. Fat. It's the same story with high-fat foods as it is with salt. Large amounts of it is not good for either us or your bird. It can cause their cholesterol to rise and result in disease and stroke. Excessive ingestion of these foods also can lead to obesity and all the health problems that accompany this condition. Therefore, just as we should limit consumption of high-fat foods, so should birds. Birds can have an occasional bite of lean, cooked meat, but they should not be offered heaping quantities of these fat-filled items, especially if they are small relative to the portion size. So always take into account their size when deciding how much of the fatty foods they can eat. 7. Caffeine. We all love caffeinated beverages, such as coffee, tea, and soft drinks because they taste great, stimulate us, and wake us up. We might think of offering a sip of these beverages to our pet birds, but even a small sip or of these drinks can be toxic to our birds. And again, caffeine has the same negative effect on our bodies as it has on your bird. We are just way bigger, which is why we can tolerate more of it. Caffeine can increase heart rate, induce arrhythmias and hyperactivity, and even cause cardiac arrest in birds. So definitely avoid the caffeinated products and go for water instead. If you like this video, then make sure you show this video to your budgie and see its reaction. We always see very happy budgies whenever this is played, so make sure you try that out. I'll see you there.